really thought we would be able to get next week off of talking about season 16, and they said, nope! Plot twist! I'm very excited, and we'll talk about it. I'm very, very excited. But, hello, hi, and hello there. Welcome to The Cup, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality, and you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm Logan Murphy. Say something gay. Today I am just drinking some water at the moment because hydration is of the essence of Hall. And I'm hungover a little bit today, but not nearly as bad as I have been in past Saturdays. So we're thankful for that. But if I was drinking anything else, it would obviously be in a cup mug. I don't have lights, so
that's okay.
Cup mug.
I have a light. Watch.
Ooh.
Trigger warning for
I was gonna say thanks, David, for that. No. For today we'll just go cup mug, but you can get yours and all of our other merch at lanajcreations.etsy.com. That link is down in the description below. And we do ship we don't ship internationally. I keep defaulting to the old intro. We are working on shipping internationally. We do ship domestically within North America. So there currently are some excuses. That's all.
Well, I'm David Healy, and I don't have a cute intro, but I do have a cute shirt. Or you could say a cute shirt. I wore this for the premiere of Drag Race when we discussed it.
Yeah.
A few days after I saw Q perform live in person. And I'm wearing it once again for this episode, a few days after seeing Q perform live in person. But I'm wearing my Q shirt.
I wonder why you're wearing your Q shirt this week, David.
Well, it's because I just saw her on Thursday at my local bar. She came to perform here. So
I wonder why she was in her home state for this week specifically.
It was the first stop of her hard candy tour, so she's going to be in other cities. Keep an eye out for her other cities.
She ain't coming here. There's 2 girls coming to Arizona in the next month, and I'm very excited because I think I might actually get to see both of them. But it's Mirage and Plasma.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, it's a lovely combination because those are 2 of my favorites. And we'll get to see them and talk about them next week, which I'm very excited about as well. But we are here. It is episode 14 of season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Race. It's almost over. And I want to talk a little bit more once we get through the intro, David. But this season hasn't felt like a drag, pun intended. For me, at least. Like, I've felt like the season has been very smooth, very entertaining. I'm sad that it's almost over.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I agree. I've really liked this season. I've really liked this cast. I do, like, in hindsight, I'm like, it is a little bit of a lopsided cast, but that's okay. I'm still very satisfied with it.
But even on a lopsided cast, I do agree with that to an extent. I also feel like everyone's drag was just at a different level this season. Plus Amanda. And I love her dearly, but that's a real situation. It's been such a refreshing season. Like, I think we can say that the Jada Essence Hall dynasty era of Drag Race opened with, or this era that we just left started with Jada, ended with Sasha, and I honestly feel like now we're in a new generation of Drag Race.
Okay, I could see that.
So,
man, we're on a hot streak of Drag Race US proper winners.
Yeah.
So I really hope we keep it up this season, and we'll find out in 2 weeks. Really, I think there's no way that they can have a bad winner.
No, and
there's definitely one I prefer over the others.
There's definitely one that I prefer the most, one that I would be very happy with, and one I would be confused about. But we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Before we do, make sure to subscribe if you have not already, because we are here almost all the time giving you almost all things drag, except we don't have any other Drag Race after this. So we are working on getting some fabulous content to you all. Hopefully more interviews. We've got a lot of interviews going on as well on the channel right now with a lot of our fabulous queens from Drag Race Belgique. So make sure to go check out our finale recap where we had Gabbana and we just had the winner, Alvilda, as well as 5th place robbed icon, but not really robbed icon because it was her time to go, Chloe Clark. And we've got another interview coming up next week, so make sure to go check those out. And if you like the interviews, we'll do our best to get more. We have connections, and I think we've got some fun people coming soon to talk about things. We've got 3 other channels as well with Almost All Things Reality TV, Almost All Things Eurovision Song Contest, and Almost All Things Wrestling Recap over on our newest channel, The Cut Ringside. Happy WrestleMania weekend to those that celebrate. David and I do not. But Lana is out there living her best life right now. That's why she's not here. So, and if you want to become a member of our channel and join the tea room, hit the join button on this video or head over to Patreon. Same content, different platform. That link is down in the description below as well. So,
and I'm drinking water. I forgot.
And you're drinking water. I always forget to mention, or I've always judged.
And the sky is blue in other news.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. Yeah, I really feel like this season has, like, it's not been a drag. It's been very refreshing to watch. I've been excited. I've been angry. I've run the gamut of emotions about this season, honestly. And I've just really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. But man, we get this incredible top 4. And I think it's really funny, like going into the workroom, I think it was Plain that was like, well, now we got rid of everybody else. We have the best of the best left. Top 4.
She says it when they come into the workroom the next day.
Oh, is that
She's like, now you all get to see the real me.
Mm-hmm.
And Sapphira was like, well, what have you been showing us this whole time? And she goes, I feed off of being around other very talented, creative individuals, and now we've gotten the rest of them out of the way. So now I feel like I can be the real me. I was like, that's so shady.
It
in
is.
A way that I don't love Plain Jane. She is not going to be my favorite person from this season by a country mile. But I am starting to appreciate her shadiness just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
I agree. There's definitely times this episode that she made me laugh, and I had to admit, I was like, I kind of agree. Like, I think everybody in this cast has been very talented and they all have their own strengths. I think this top 4, for the most part, is extremely well-rounded, and I wouldn't switch a single one of them out for somebody else, to be honest. I think this is the right top 4, even if I don't love them all personally,
Based on performance, I think there's people that I would have shifted around like 5th to 8th.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me personally, I would have liked to see Plasma go a little bit further in the competition. That's just me personally. I do think, though, when it came to Makeover, she probably would have gone home with Makeover.
Right.
So, and Morphine did go home with the Makeover, because we do see Morphine gone. Sapphira was like, well, the girls know now that there's a chink in my armor and it's not perfect, but I still have the best track record here. So, and if we're talking by Lucy LaDuca standards, she has the best track record by a mile.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it's only going to get better.
And it only gets better, because we do go into the workroom the next day. RuPaul walks in to do what I think is the stupidest mini challenge they have ever done, where they're lip syncing to Kitty Girl while underwater.
Were you not expecting a tank? I was like, okay, this is going to be like...
I was expecting a season 5
photo
giant
shoot.
tank. That is exactly what I was thinking. And it's like a cute little inflatable pool that they brought into the workroom.
I'm not mad at it, though, because I was like, wait, how are they going to do a whole lip sync underwater, like holding their breath? But I like this because they were able to get up for air when they need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and really give it, and then you could get highs and lows, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super funny.
It gave me you remember in the season 12 finale when they had to do the face only lip sync? It was giving
that
very
lip
much
sync,
that.
by the way.
I also do. That would have been a better song to do for this. I was like, Kitty Girl again? Really? You have thousands of songs, RuPaul. And all of your hit song. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That is...
The good
Gottmik has one of my favorite roast performances of all time. Like,
Oh.
truly, that is the one major thing, other than Utica absolutely bombing.
Mhm.
That is the one thing I remember from that roast. It's just got me going. And all of your hits, Song.
I just had a visceral reaction. Like, I felt it in my body, you mentioning Utica's bombing, because I don't think I've ever been more uncomfortable watching something on Drag.
You've never
Pheromone.
smoked weed, right? No. Bring Utica back. Where's
Yes,
Utica?
I love Utica
Utica,
so much.
come on, bring back Utica. Anyway. Yeah, I would say the pheromone moment, the Utica moment, like, it's always roasts.
It is.
Alyssa,
I don't think
Santina, will you please shut up with your no drag knowledge mouth?
but that, like,
Always around.
surpasses, like, awkward and uncomfortable and is just,
Yeah.
like, legendary and
Oh,
hilarious
so good.
unintentionally.
I would say let's get this roast to cooking has honestly gotten to that point for me as well,
Mm.
where I'm just like, oh, it's so legendarily bad. I couldn't tell you a single thing Utica said in her roast. I remember Lonnie going, but you're the one bombing, and that's
Yep.
all I remember.
And I remember her asking RuPaul to stand up.
Oh yeah, the double, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, the sweatpants joke, yes, of course.
Yep.
That's the one thing I'll remember from it. Anyway, underwater lip syncing is whatever. And guess what? To nobody's surprise at all, Sapphira wins.
And she killed it. She was definitely my favorite in that challenge.
I
So
agree.
good job.
I would have given it to her, or honestly, I don't think Q did that bad either.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They
do
were
think.
all very even. I was like, any
Mhm,
of the four of them could have won, and I would have said, sure.
mhm. I agree. I
Like,
think Nymphia probably was my least out of them. Look at me
okay,
talking like I'm talking about La Mastraga. She was my
right.
least.
My la menos
Yes.
was Nymphia. Yeah, I would probably agree with that. But we find out that the Maxi challenge for this week, we're bringing back the book challenge, David.
I was like, the book ball?
No,
No.
the memoir challenge.
And when was this done before? Because I couldn't remember.
This was season 2.
Oh, wow.
This was I love that drink.
That's
That's
right.
what that's
Okay.
where this comes from. Because it's literally like the exact same challenge. Shoot the cover for your book and do an interview with a homosexual man. Like, it's copy and paste. We'll talk about Matt Rogers because I loved the way he did this.
Mhm.
But it's literally a copy and paste. And I've been wanting that challenge to come back for years.
Mhm.
So to
See,
see it, I was like, oh, I'm so excited.
see, I didn't remember it, so I'm like, wait, they're actually gonna be writing? Like, what are they gonna be, like, reading
No.
excerpts from it? Like, how is this gonna be
It
entertaining?
seemed like this was a bit more fleshed out than the original challenge, I will say, because and I guess we could just skip to the interview too, because honestly, I want to talk about the RuPaul photo shoot too, but I'm pretty sure what they ended up doing was giving chapter names and giving like brief descriptions of like
Mm,
what it would be. So that way, when it comes time to the interview with Matt Rogers, he's able to be like, you talked about this, and this story in your book. What does that mean to you? Like, so I think it was like give an outline so that way they have something to talk about in the interview. That's what it seemed like to
that
me.
makes sense.
But we are writing, chapters and stories and things like that. We're doing a photo shoot with RuPaul where this is the most hands-on I remember RuPaul being on anything since I would say Daytona Wins.
Yeah, I could see that, and she was literally hands-on this time.
I
Like,
was
they were
like,
talking about it later.
the
RuPaul
whole
touched
time,
me.
the whole time I was like, RuPaul is touching people. What is happening? Like, is letting go of another franchise gonna renew RuPaul a little bit on the US one? Because that's kind of what it feels like.
Maybe so, and I'm here for it because I'll be honest, like,
Same.
watching this, I'm like, "She is so good at this." Like,
Yeah.
I did not know that her like, one of her top strengths on Drag Race
Uh-huh.
ever would be directing people in a photo shoot.
Oh my God, who was it? I watched an interview, and it was someone who said it was whoever went in and did the makeup for the drag when RuPaul hosted SNL. This is gonna sound like a crazy story. I swear to God, I heard this on a podcast somewhere. whoever it was talked about going in. RuPaul was hosting SNL, and it was when they had to make over Pete. What's his face?
Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson. Thank you. When they had to do the Pete Davidson drag situation. Who was it? The only name coming to mind is Deja Skye, but I don't think it was Deja. Anyway, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments. The point I'm trying to make is that queen commented on the fact that RuPaul was like such a professional and like worked with this person to like make sure that the entire art direction was good. Like, seeing Ru like in her element, because I also remember she did a lot of this on the split premiere mini challenge on season 14 when they did the big bowl of Tic Tacs and they did the wheel. Like, I remember Ru being in a similar sort of way with that. I loved seeing Ru like kind of in his element.
Yeah.
Like doing creative direction and like making sure that like things are good. Like this is all stuff that Ru has a lot of experience in and he's very good at. There are a lot of things Ru is not good at, but this is one of Ru's absolute strengths is directing and, you know, art direction as a whole.
Yeah.
So to see Ru in her element again, I was just like, oh, this is so fun.
Yeah, it's funny to think about the fact that RuPaul's Drag Race kind of started as a parody of America's Next Top Model.
Did you see on Twitter the other day, I think it was Twitter, where someone shared a trailer. It was Jack Fed. That's who it was. Shout out to Jack. Jack tweeted the promo trailer from 2008 for Drag Race, where literally the entire promo is referencing other reality shows. It was like America's Next Top Drag Queen, fashion superstar, mentioning like Project Runway, and it was like mentioning all of these reality shows that were happening. To that point exactly. Like I love how it's evolved into its own beast, for lack of a better word.
And that was kind of a height of reality TV at that time because we had a writer strike going on then. So reality TV was more prevalent than it had been in a long time. So it all makes sense. But yeah, just this came full circle, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing the Tyra come back out of you in the best way, because I do like Tyra
for the most. What Plain said, I think it was I'm the America's Next Top Model contestant, and Ru is Tyra right now, and this is what we're doing. I also feel like, and I've thought this all season, I don't think I've mentioned it on the pod at all. I really feel like this is one of the first times in a while where RuPaul is really connecting with a cast on a whole. Like, I think she gave that like very individualistic attention to a lot of girls on this season. Like we get a lot of that with Sapphira. We've gotten a lot of that with Nymphia. I think we got some of that with Plasma. We got some of that with Hershey for the little bit that Hershey was here. With Mirage, definitely. Like
on her way out.
I was gonna say on the whole breakdown moment on the way out. We got a little bit of that with Morphine, with Mhi'ya. Like it really feels like Ru has connected with this cast in a way that I haven't seen her connect with a cast on a whole in a long time. I want to say the last time I saw something like to this caliber was maybe season 13, but I don't know. Maybe even going back to like season 8. Like I don't remember Ru feeling like Ru is as invested in a cast in a long time. And that was also this episode felt very refreshing on a whole. So we do the photo shoot. We'll talk about the book covers here later. We do our interviews with Matt Rogers. We'll talk about those later. And then it's just workroom stuff where they're like, what was your first impression of me? And I hated this moment. I was like, I don't care enough.
I mean, there were parts of it that I really enjoyed. I think my favorite part was when they were giving Nymphia a hard time. And Nymphia was like, yeah, they're saying that about us, right? And Q's like, no, they're talking about you.
There's no y'all here. They're calling you out. And I love this whole interaction because Q is calling out Plain for her oatmeal brows, and then Plain is coming for Q. And they're all coming for Sapphira, and Sapphira's like, you can't say anything about me other than the makeover.
Yeah.
So what about it?
You can tell that they all just like really get along. And this is one of the few times where, for the most part with this cast, like there are times when people read each other and you still feel tension from it. But this season, I would say
Why are you such an
other than some stuff going on early on, especially
Yeah.
involving Plane and Amanda, it feels like the reads have been taken so lightly, like especially with Morphine and Mhi'ya, like just how cool they are with each other, and even Q and Plane and everybody. It's just like their friendship, their sisterly bond, if you want to call it that, just supersedes any sort of hurt feelings they could get from getting reads from each other. And maybe we have Plane to thank for the rest of them being so soft into it. I don't know.
I don't know how much you've seen of like the What You Packin' that they've been doing with Michelle and the Hey Queen interviews with Johnny McGovern that they've been doing. I figured.
Yeah.
I went on a deep dive last week because I had no other Drag Race to watch, and like it was a very strange feeling. I've gone back and watched most of the Johnny McGovern interviews because I do love Johnny and Lady Red. But that's one of the things that almost all of the girls coming out of the season have been like, I am really, really close with most of my cast. Like I have a couple queens that I'm very, very close with, and that's obviously going to happen. But like I could call up, a lot of them were like, I could call up any of these girls right now and like have like confide in them, like talk to them. Like I'm very, very close with a lot of people. And that's a common sentiment throughout this cast. I love seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's definitely not how the season 15 cast is anymore. I don't know how much you've seen of that.
I haven't seen much of it.
A lot of people aren't friends anymore.
Oh.
Especially surrounding the Sugar and Spice and the Malaysia and the Mistress and the Lux. Yeah. They all had a falling out.
But can you ever believe that?
Yes.
Okay, because I see them. I've seen them fight for like a year, but it's always like jokes, you know. But maybe not anymore.
But have you seen them together? No. That's the thing, because like Sugar and Spice were at the Emmys. Mistress wasn't.
She was still at DragCon. We got some nice little light shade between Mistress and Lux about.
DragCon in May is different than.
No, I'm talking about. She was in DragCon UK. That's why she wasn't there, because she talked about that on Twitter, and she's like, "My lines were full. Lux's lines weren't full. That's why she could make it back from DragCon." So I took that all as like light shade.
It's. I think it's less so. I think the Lux and Mistress of it all has happened very, very recently. Okay. It seems like the Sugar and Spice in Malaysia and Mistress happened a while ago. Because now it's more so like Sugar and Spice aren't doing a whole lot together anymore. And like Sugar and Malaysia are very, very close. That's a whole dynamic that, quite frankly, I don't have the time nor the effort, nor do I care really all that much. I hope everyone is good and making money and being fabulous. That's all I hope for. So
good is good.
Good is good. Good is good, and good is also good. So, let's just go. With returning guest judge Ronan Farrow.
And Ronan Farrow was somebody I didn't really know until he was a guest judge on this the first time. Same. And I remember being like, "Oh, Ronan Farrow, you are very cute." And then this episode being like, "Oh, Ronan, what happened?" Because I'm not
beard
anymore.
Huh? Beard.
He has a beard, or he didn't?
Yeah,
he did.
He didn't before.
I still don't see a beard. I think it was his weird haircut.
Oh, I think he had like I think he had like a 3-day beard where it was like kind of grown out. It didn't look good.
His hair looks like Madison in episode 2 of Solo Las Mas this season.
Don't. We've moved past that look, David. As a society.
Las Mas coverage here. Ding. You're welcome.
God, David Healy.
But I think Rue looks good. I really like this fabric. I'm not sure how I felt about the shape of the hips.
I loved it. The draped hip. I loved it. This was another of my favorite Rue looks. It feels very classic RuPaul, belted, a little bit of a higher waist. I like the sort of like dropped hip draping situation.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I recognize it's not for everybody. The theme of the night was draping.
Right. I noticed
because we got the hips draping on Rue, Michelle in her best Valentina cosplay. She was about to go get on that stage and twirl and twirl and twirl, and she's so into you right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then Maddie, bitch.
I don't love this hair on her.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It wasn't working for me.
I like the color.
I think I don't like the color.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't mind it. I liked her hair last week. Well, I liked her whole ensemble last week a bit more than this. But the gown is cute.
Yeah.
The gown is cute. So I don't like Rue's hair. Now that I'm looking at it more, like it looks
it looks like
it's
Golden
very,
Girls.
I was literally about to say the other Golden Girls. Ah!
Yeah. We're designing women. I don't know.
Very designing women. It's very designing women. This is like Panama Beach looks in Golden Girls. Like that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yep.
Work. So category is Fandango, the movie service, clearly.
Yes. I love this background.
Thank you. Yeah. I was confused. I had no fucking clue what to do for this.
I know. I
had no clue. So I said fan. Confused as to why we're not doing finale eleganza.
Because this is not the finale.
But normally the last competitive episode, they do their like best drag looks.
Mm-hmm. But is it the last competitive episode?
I'm very confused as to what the finale is going to look like for this season. I'm very confused.
Yeah. Me too.
We'll talk more about that later. I'm going to put a pin in that. We're going to circle back to that later. Because I want to talk about it. Because there's a lot of things that weirdly haven't been announced. And I'm confused. But regardless, category is Fandango. A runway overall, I'm going to say I wasn't the most thrilled with. On a whole.
I thought it was a good runway, and honestly, I thought this was maybe the closest everybody was with their looks.
I think I would agree with that. I think I'm just so used to such a high caliber of looks on this season specifically that these four, I was like, oh. And the ones I've seen on social media so far that the girls have posted, I'm like, oh.
Maybe they weren't expecting to use this category. Here's one of our backups.
Seems like it. But anyway, first up, Q.
I think she looks good. And I'm going to say that about everybody. I think she looks good. I really like this wig on her. At first I was like, is this the same wig she wore in her talent show? And they showed her talent show. I'm like, no, it's not even close. Other than being blonde and maybe the same length.
I think it's also the only time other than the talent show that she's worn blonde that I remember.
That could be true.
Yeah.
But I do think that the actual dress looks good. I mean, hey, she could have let Sapphira's person.
I was gonna say, wow, Q.
Wow.
To not let somebody else's makeover partner use your look.
That you would have to use the following episode. Also, why didn't you wear this on your book cover and then come out and wear it on the runway for a second time in the same episode? Right? Okay. Who said that?
Maddie.
Okay.
I was like,
do you know how the show works?
For me, we'll talk about the book cover. I'm gonna put a pin in that. Remind me to talk about Q's look when we talk about the books. This was actually my favorite look of the night. I really like this. And I'm not surprised because I think everything that Q does is not everything. Most of what Q has done has been very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the concept of this, and I love that she went paper fan because I was hoping someone would. I love the whole color palette of this. I kind of wish the hair was a bit darker blonde, like a bit closer in tone to the orange, as opposed to this, like, you've got like the platinum little situation in the front, and then you've got this like true golden blonde. I would have liked something closer, maybe like a dirty blonde for it, but that's honestly nitpicking. The shoulder and the whole back piece is so good. The fans coming out. I will say the only thing I would have wanted is a bit more in the skirt, because the skirt kind of came up and was just kind of flat, and it reminded me of was it Lady Camden that did the ballerina, the Saw ballerina look? It reminded me of that. I just wanted it to be a bit fuller in the skirt.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier, is that it kind of reminded me of a ballerina look, and I wish she had performed it that way, because I think it would have made a lot more sense. But I do like
you wanted her to dance, David.
Not dance, but maybe like
you wanted her to move elegantly, David.
I just saw her live, and I was actually impressed with the improvement I've seen with her performance.
That's also skills. Growth over almost a year.
It's also growth after 3 months, because I was very underwhelmed with her lip syncing skills when I saw her live in January.
Well, hey, I mean, 3 months of being basically consistently on tour, that's going to cause growth in some capacity. So I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, overall, I think this was a very solid look for Q.
Agreed.
Your score, David?
I'm going to give her an 82.
I'm going to give her an 88. Okay. Next up, Sapphira.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. This is very close to being the most boring thing she's worn. But there are two things that significantly save this. And
the wheel hair.
The wheel hair, which is an incredible wig, one of the best wigs I've seen all season.
Agreed.
And
the pop-out fans.
The pop-out fans.
Yeah.
So if it was not for those, I would be kind of bored with this, but those were two very, very strong aspects to this look. So I still really like this. And I really like how much growth we've seen from her in her breastplates as well this season. Like this was.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was talking with my friends about it when we were watching it together, and I was like, do you think that maybe she asked a PA to order her a breastplate mid-season? I don't remember anyone ever doing that, but I'm also like, unless they have like a Boobs for Queen sponsorship that we've just never seen on the season, or unless they just had access or they had extra breastplates on hand, which feels like a very Drag Race thing to do. I'll be honest. Like, it does feel like, especially with like makeover challenges and things, like Morphe couldn't have had that breastplate last week.
Yeah, but I'm also like, could they have borrowed any, like, could this have been like Hershey's or?
I don't think so, because Hershey didn't wear breasts, I don't believe. Or I think hers were more like the bra with the chicken cutlet, as opposed to a full, because this is a full not latex, full silicone breastplate that she's wearing.
And it looks very realistic.
Yes, I will say though, when we see it in Untucked, you see the seam line, and that annoyed me. I didn't notice it on the runway, so I'm not going to add it into my critique of her look. But I'm like, what do you think the chances are that after that first episode, that whole debacle with her Fisher-Price titties, I feel like I would be like, you have access to my credit card. Like, you have all of my stuff. You have access to that. Can you get me another breastplate? Like, I don't feel like that's out of the realm of possibility, because I noticed a shift in her breastplate, but it wasn't until like episode like 5 or 6, I think. It's when they did the Barbara challenge that I was like, oh, your tits are still a little small. And then the next episode, I was like, oh, they look normal. Confused. That's my conspiracy theory, and I'm sticking to it. Because I don't think any of the other... I don't remember any of the other Black queens on this season wearing a breastplate.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sapphira was the only one.
Mhi'ya did. But I don't think
this is Mhi'ya's, though.
Yeah, I don't either.
If it was, that's a good sisterly move.
Mm-hmm.
But on the topic of this look, which is what we're here to discuss, I'm going to agree with you. I was a little bored. I'm tired of the blue. I've reached the point where she walked out and I said, oh,
her name is Sapphira Sapphire.
Yes, I know. I'm
glad you're being consistent, though.
No, 100%. And I planned on it. And I said it when I made the comment about Nymphia in yellow. I'm like, if Sapphira keeps wearing blue, I'm going to call it out for the same thing. I'm wearing blue today because she is my winner pick still. But I wished it was any other color. Any other color. And I will say the actual silhouette of the gown is boring. Was this my least favorite? No, plain Jane exists. Yeah, I was just a little underwhelmed by this on a whole. The gown wasn't steamed. If you looked at the actual silhouette of the gown, it was just weird.
Yeah.
But
I like it.
This wheel braid bullshit, Sapphira, I love that. I don't know why for this.
It's kind of the shape of a fan. Like a literal fan.
Supposed to be a fan. Oh my. Okay. Well, then that's incredible. I thought it was supposed to be a wheel.
No, I mean it
looks like a wheel.
It kind of looks like Beyonce's hair is going to get stuck in that at any moment.
Right. And then I did love the fan popping out at the bottom, and like that created a different silhouette shape for me, and I would have liked it. The whole time I was just like, she walked out and I said, oh, this is going to reveal into some fabulous corset fan situation. No. I'm not going to say this is a total miss.
No.
But I was underwhelmed.
The bar's high for her. That's the problem.
The bar is so high for her that just like, yeah. Scores.
I'm still giving her an 82 as well.
I'm going to give her an 80. Nymphia. Thank you, Michelle Visage, for finally acknowledging that the Marie Antoinette trope is dead on Drag Race. Thank you. And I hope none of the season 17 girls are planning a Marie Antoinette look, because I know if they are and they watch this episode, they're scrapping that one. I hope none of y'all are doing it, because they should be preparing like right now for it.
True. I mean, I don't mind those looks as long as they're not all like on the nose. I feel like this is enough of a deviation from what we usually get that.
Oh, this is one of my favorite Marie Antoinette looks of all time on Drag Race. Let me make that also clear. But yeah.
But yeah, I'm obsessed with this wig. I think this wig is incredible. All the details there, it just looks so good. And her nails, I didn't even catch that at first. But I'm like, wow.
I didn't catch it until they did the zoom in on during critique. I was like,
same. I will say the rest of the outfit itself, I'm like, okay, it's good, but I feel like I've seen it a lot, and I almost feel like I've seen it on her. Maybe not. But the fan was just such a small emphasis on here. Like, sure, we got the little ones on the nails, and we got the fan skirt part that was mostly covered. And of course, she's holding one and putting it in her cleavage. Cleavage. And then we saw that her pussy was on fire. So
it sure was.
But overall, I still thought it was good. I mean, it was kind of like, I think everybody this week had things I liked and then things that I was underwhelmed with.
I think everyone saw this on the runway brief and said, that's going to be a look I reined in. I was like, all of these looks are fine. None of them are groundbreaking. And that's how I feel about Nymphia too. I do really like this. I love that she took the Marie Antoinette concept and brought in traditional Asian fabrics to it. That I really enjoyed. So I was like, that's something different we haven't seen. The silhouette was a little predictable. I didn't love the fans that came down in the front of the peignets. I think either the mechanism didn't work or like something, because it felt like out of nowhere, and then like they cut away and they cut back and they were there or something. I was a little confused by it. The pussy on fire, sure, whatever. Like, okay, great. But I love the wig. I love the wig. She was going for a very T.S. Madison coded color palette in this episode, unintentionally, but I did love that they ended up matching. Yeah, I think this is fine.
I think it's good.
It's good.
Not great. I give it an 82.
Again? Did you give Plain an 82?
I don't know. I haven't given it yet.
I hope you do.
We'll see.
I think it'd be very fun for you. 82s across the board. You know what? I'm gonna give Nymphia an 82.
Okay.
I was thinking about it. I was like, no, that feels
an
right.
80 also in reference to Sapphira, or an 82?
No, an 82. I'm matching you.
Okay.
Yes. And last up, Plane Jeanne.
As soon as she came out, I was like, what in the Chanel?
David, stop reading my mind. Because I wanted her to walk in and be like, I don't want to be here anymore. Because you haven't told me that I'm pretty. And that feels like something Plain Jane would do.
Mm-hmm. And that's not an insult, because Chanel, she definitely had some looks that looked very expensive. They also kind of look old-fashioned.
I'm so excited to allegedly, potentially revisit Chanel 7.
We shall see. I think she looks good here. My favorite part is actually, it kept drawing my eye. And I'm curious if you can guess, actually. There was one part that I just kept my eye would go specifically to it every time I saw her.
Was it the crown and the wig?
Yeah, it's those little points sticking out.
I loved that.
I know.
It was that deconstructed halo sun sort of crown. We've seen a lot of those, but I had never seen one in a fully like teased up wig in that, to where like the wig was eclipsing the headpiece. I loved that too. I noted that.
Yeah, but I think everything looks good. It looks a little simple, but good and refined. It's a very strong bodice she's got going on there. So yeah, no complaints. Very good.
I had one complaint. I think this is overall a very good look for Plain. My issue actually comes with the way that the straps are done on the gown, and you can really see it in this top photo that we have, where obviously she's doing this kind of strap situation to hide her breastplate line. And I get that, and I respect that. It just looked janky, is really all it was for me. I wish she had just taken her cape and just had the cape go over that whole part completely. And then I honestly don't think it would have been an issue. The cape also didn't come off the shoulder enough. It was like she had it on, and then when she started walking down the runway, she like flipped it up, and I was like, why? Like, it didn't make sense to me. But I like the Grecian inspiration. The bodice is gorgeous, stoned within an inch of its life. Like, it's so good. The skirt of the gown is basic, but I mean, it's not a bad look by any means of the imagination. I got what she was going for the moment she walked out on the runway. So I just really had that issue with the strap, but overall, like, not bad at all. So, scores?
I'm going to give her an 82.
Good. Good. I'm gonna give her a 78
Oh,
because of the straps. The straps
okay.
really distracted me from the whole thing.
Yep.
But all my scores were within what, like 10
10.
points?
Mhm. I
Literally,
don't
like
think I could rank the 4 looks if like I can't.
valid.
I'm like,
I
I don't
still
know which
think
one's my
I
favorite.
still
I don't
think
know which one's my least favorite.
I still think Q was probably my favorite for this. But let's talk about our books. So we have Plane Crash by Plane, Slewfoot by Sapphira, Alphabet Soup by Q, and Breaking Wind by Nymphia.
Should we go in order that they were on the show?
Sure.
Because I want to start out strong. I want to talk about Nymphia in this
And
book cover.
I did them in order of how they were interviewed.
That's
That's
fair.
the order that I have it in.
Oh,
But I
that
would
makes sense.
love to start with Nymphia.
Okay, so Nymphia, as soon as she comes out for this photo shoot, I'm like, oh, this is better than a lot of runway looks we've seen this season. I just thought this was so cool. Those boots are insane. And everything she was directed to do the entire time by RuPaul, I was like, this is perfection. This is perfection. One of the best photo shoots I've ever seen done on Drag Race, period.
When she walked out, I didn't see her face at first. I thought it was Q. Because the
Oh, yeah.
look was so like I was like, this is so different for Nymphia in a way that
Mhm.
I love. Like the coat on that with all of the like gold spikes was so good. The hair here is really good. The book cover is really good, and I loved her interview as
Mhm.
well. I thought her interview with Matt Rogers was very good. Seeing more of her vulnerability and seeing her talk about, holding herself to Western beauty standards. It's not a conversation we see very much on Drag Race, but I love that we are having that conversation.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I did, though. I thought it was funny when she started out talking about how like her idea of beauty was a white man with a strong nose and thick eyebrows, and it cuts over to Matt Rogers. I'm like, I feel very
Literally.
attacked.
I was
'Cause I'm
like,
like,
oh, she's referring to me, of course.
yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, he handled the interview like I thought he was gonna like react to that, but he was very professional, and I don't think she was. She obviously wasn't trying to like make that a
Oh, of
knock against
course.
him. But yeah, I really like seeing this vulnerability from her. I think that she's really opened up in a way, personality wise, the past couple of episodes
Yeah.
that are crucial, very crucial,
Yes.
because I do up until the up until last week, I think the character that we've been getting of Nymphia has been just not what a winner is, you know?
Yeah.
It's been
I agree
kind of
with
a
that.
background character. It's
Yeah.
been kind of a one-note character, and we're really starting to see the dynamics of
Yeah.
Nymphia, and it's at the right time. So I more than ever, I think she is a strong contender to win this show, and this episode solidified it because she killed it. She killed it.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that for sure. I think, I mean, at this point, I don't see a universe where the top two isn't Sapphira and Nymphia. And I've kind of thought that for most of the season, just based on performance. Um, her interview, her talking about getting ghosted by a man because she slid down a slide in dog poop. Like, she had the perfect mix for me of being vulnerable and also giving really funny and like engaging stories. And that's the kind of thing you want to see in an interview like this. So I really enjoyed everything that Nymphia did here.
Mhm. Well, after Nymphia, we
Uh,
had was it Q or Saphir? I can't
I
remember.
honestly don't remember, and I'm happy to go in whatever
Okay,
order.
we're just gonna go with Q then.
Oh
We're
god.
gonna go from one end to the
So
other.
so did Q run out of looks?
I'm guessing she must have.
I feel like because that is the only explanation for this abomination that she's
Yep.
wearing.
This is what I thought Bernie was wearing in that one episode where I said, "Oh, look at her rust look."
Oh, this is rust.
This is rust.
We've
Um,
come full circle, David. This is rust colored.
this is rust. I do think I noticed it every turn. I felt like they were prepared for Q to be the loser of this episode. And
Yeah.
I don't think they gave her any grace or wiggle room with anything throughout the episode. It felt like they were prepared for whatever she did to be wrong.
They knew what they wanted to do. They knew that, spoiler, they wanted a top 3, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went into this episode fully expecting a top 4.
Yeah.
And they all did too.
Yep. And I'm not saying that she didn't deserve it. Like, I do think she performed the worst by a pretty decent margin this episode.
Are you talking overall in the episode?
In this, yes.
Oh, okay, because I actually disagree.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll get into the podcast soon.
I think she was very bottom 2. Very clearly bottom 2. For me, though, if I'm taking into account challenge, book cover, interview, and runway, she was number 3 for me. Because I actually think her interview with Matt was pretty good.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't anything groundbreaking, but she was able to talk a lot about it. Also might just be because I do relate to Q's story in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I might have had that sort of implicit bias set. Like, everything Q's talking about, I'm like, yep, did that. Yep, experienced that. Yep, I know how that is. More than any of the other queens that did the challenge. But I thought her interview was good, solid, and lovely.
I thought it was lovely. But I did load it. I noticed kind of a lack of like polish in how she was talking. Like, she was not as eloquent as the other 3 were. It almost felt like
I didn't think Plain was that eloquent.
Oh, well, we'll get into it.
I literally just said eloquent.
That's okay. It was, you were referencing.
She was not as eloquent as everybody else. I said what I said.
Yeah. But for me, Q, just, it almost felt like she was kind of reverting to a shy, like, I kind of felt like she was lacking charisma a little bit in her interview.
And that's kind of the one thing I would say we've kind of gotten a lot of from Q this season. Like, is she a very talented designer? Yes. Is she very good at drag? Yes. She's got the uniqueness and the nerve and the talent. But the one thing I've been missing is a little bit of that charisma factor.
I could see that, yeah.
Did you see the tweet? It was last week before Morphine got eliminated, where someone was like, charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. And it was Sapphira, Nymphia, Q, and Morphine's promos. And then someone in the comments was like, charisma, Sapphira, uniqueness, Nymphia, nerve, Q, and Plain Jane. Or no, it was nerve, Plain Jane, and Q. Talent, Morphine. And I was like, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not that wrong. But I like Q. That's the problem. I do really, really like Q.
I really like Q.
Yeah. I didn't love the title.
No, and it should have been savor every slurp.
Oh, I hate that even more.
Because you don't savor, you don't bite alphabet soup.
You're not wrong, but also, I would have loved if the title had been like Q&A.
True, but I also get kind of annoyed when they're like, "Hey, here's ones that we're just thinking up on the spot. Why didn't you think of this?"
But in that exact way, though, that's why I thought Sapphira did so well, because she took something that she knows RuPaul laughed over and made it the entire kind of premise of the title of her book. And I thought in that way, she did such a good job. Sapphira, for me, more than anyone, is amazing at drag, obviously. But more than that, understands the Drag Race machine more than anyone else on this season. And I love that she's been able to be herself and also adapt what she's doing to recognize what RuPaul is enjoying in her. And I would say Sapphira was the best of that. And honestly, I think Plain is another person that's done very, very good with that too. I loved Sapphira's whole photo shoot, having RuPaul wrap the braid around her, I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, this wig was so smart because there's so much you can do with it. It really did give her a high ceiling to work with here,
Yeah.
and it gave a lot of flexibility to work hands on with Rue, which
Oh
was
yeah.
very cool to watch. And I do like this outfit too. I thought it worked really well, and she had a really good interview. I'll be honest, her interview was my favorite because I
Her interview was
really
my
saw,
favorite too.
yeah, I saw raw vulnerability that I
Yeah.
really appreciated. And there were parts of me at times where I'm like, is, and this is going to sound bad. This is going to sound like
Okay.
I'm criticizing her,
Okay.
but when she was talking about being insecure about being Slewfoot, I was like, was that really an insecurity of hers?
Mm.
And I'm like, or is she giving herself a storyline? And I'm not
I
mad
get
either way.
that. I
I'm
get
not
that.
mad.
No, I'm
If
not
it
mad either way. I do get that though,
Mhm,
and I will go ahead and say the perception that I got of it was that it was an actual insecurity.
mhm,
Um, but that's just my perception based on what she's told us and talking about it. And you could tell as well when Matt mentioned the title and she started explaining, well, I have hip dysplasia, and she started explaining it, and as she was explaining it, she was explaining it a little bit slower, as if like processing her insecurity while also speaking on it, because that's something I do, is like if I'm discussing with someone like an insecurity of mine, I notice that I tend to slow down a little bit in the way that I'm talking, and instead I start thinking a little bit more about what I'm saying before I
mhm,
say it. I recognize that in her in that moment too. So for me, the my perception was that it was real. I get what you're saying for sure, and I
right.
definitely think if she put it on as like a whole acting bit, hey, I'm not mad at that either. I'm really not mad at that.
Yep.
Um,
And I also loved all the stuff she talked about with her grandmother. Like that felt
yeah,
so real, and she almost felt like she was just leaving breadcrumbs for Matt to respond. Like,
she was a great person to be interviewed because
mhm,
she can volley. That's like
mhm,
another RuPaul thing. Is like she does very very well with volleying with RuPaul. Volleying in this interview, I think was something she was very strong with. Um, and someone that was not very strong with that, I have to be honest, was Plain Jane. I by far thought her interview was the weakest because for me, everyone else in their interview gave me dimension. I got no dimension from Plain Jane's personality in the interview. I also think her book cover is my least favorite.
mm. Yeah, I'll start with her book cover. I think it was a mistake to have a background like that. Everybody else went pretty simple. It was, I mean, other than Q having the soup, but it just looked like bad Photoshop behind her. Like this is not, and it doesn't go with her outfit either.
Yeah.
Like if it was like if she was wearing something that matched the sky, I don't know. It could have worked better. The wig wasn't great. I do
I
think
think
that
she ran out of looks too. It seemed
maybe,
like it because she walked out and I was like, "This is different."
yeah. I
Yeah,
like the name. I thought the name was
the
smart,
name
and
was smart.
you had room to go from there and really like that's a book title that I would be like, oh, this could be about all sorts of things, and this could be like very intimate information about her.
And instead, in her interview was so surface level.
Yes, but I did not mind it. I actually, her interview was probably my second favorite,
Oh, okay.
but it was because it felt very similar to how I've heard interviews before on podcasts. Like the other three, I would say, okay, these sound like RuPaul RuPaul's podcast that she does in the finale with
Okay.
the queens, where they're
Okay.
really getting vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily need that, especially when we've got two more episodes to come. And hers was the one where I actually like genuinely laughed when they read the chapter name that said, uh being a bitch is an act of kindness.
Yeah.
I cracked up. I was
I agree with that too. I just if the challenge is about your it, this is if it was just a book challenge, then I think I would agree with you in that regard. Like I would get that. for me, this being a memoir challenge, when the challenge is specifically billed as memoir, and you want it to be more of a personal journey into the person you're reading about, hypothetically speaking, I wanted her to talk about like the insecurity things that she's brought up throughout the season. Like I wanted a little bit of that. I wanted a bit more depth to the way she handled it. Also, why are we still bringing up a mandatory meeting? She's been gone for 8 weeks. Get over it. She's the only person that in their interview talked about anyone else other than themselves.
Right.
And that read
And she was asked.
I don't know how to.
Though.
Yes, but also like she didn't have to name people directly.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rogers has no fucking clue at this moment who a mandatory meeting is.
Yeah, but that's not.
It just felt like superfluous information for me.
That's not how they're supposed to do the show. As if, like, oh, let me inform you about this character. No, they're doing it knowing this is going to air episodically, and that the viewers are the audience. They're the ones that I'm talking to with this interview right now. So,
but also still, I just don't love like get over the Amanda shit.
And she wasn't shading her in this moment. She was just talking about how they had conflict, which is true.
It was still shady though.
She shaded the other three for sure.
But I'm like, but again, she's the only one that brought up anybody else. I think there were moments where yes, but I think there were moments where any of the other three could have brought up somebody else and they didn't. Because all of them got questions about like the conversation or not the conversation, the competition and like things like that. So I don't know.
My rankings overall for everything like throughout the episode: Nymphia, Sapphira, Plain Jane, Q.
And see, I think mine overall, it's difficult. Because I honestly probably would have given a double win, if I'm being honest.
I could see that.
I think I would have given a double win between Sapphira and Nymphia.
Historical 5-time win?
I was waiting for it. I was really hoping for it for Sapphira, and we'll talk about it. I'm not upset.
Yeah. If she had been, while you think about it, if she had been the first person to get 5 wins, I would not be mad. Because honestly, I think Sapphira is my favorite Drag Race US contestant I've seen in quite a few years. And that's even with Sasha Colby last year.
I was going to say the 1-2 punch of Sasha Colby, Sapphira Cristal for me is like unmatched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm trying to go like bit by bit. Because the book cover, I prefer Nymphia's, but I guess I would have given it to Nymphia, actually. If you're factoring in Runway as like the tiebreaker situation, I did like Nymphia's Runway more than I liked Saphira's. And I liked Saphira's interview more, and I liked Nymphia's book cover more. So I guess mine would be Nymphia, Sapphira, Q, Plain.
Okay. So we just have the bottom 2 flipped.
Yeah. And I get why you have Plain over Q.
And I'm the Q fan of the podcast.
I know.
But I'm also fair.
The Plain Jane fan of this podcast.
Right.
We get our critique. We go back. I do want to talk about Untucked because I think Untucked was really cute. It's mostly them talking about, oh, is it going to be a top 4? Is it going to be a top 3? But then T.S. Madison comes in. And this, I don't think it was supposed to be this shady. But when she goes, oh my God, hi Nymphia. Oh my God, hi Plain. Oh my God, hi Q. You come here. And goes to Sapphira and like has a full moment with Sapphira.
Right. She said, I'm saving you for last.
I'm saving you for last. I was like, better, Maddie. And I know why. And I get why. And I respect why. And I loved it.
Yeah, that was by far the thing that I noticed the most in Untucked.
I also noticed Ronan Farrow couldn't be bothered to go talk to him, I guess.
I mean, maybe he did. Maybe they cut it. Maybe there was nothing substantial. He's one of
like 3 guest judges this season that didn't go back. But honestly, I would have rather had Maddie. And I thought her advice to everyone was so... I mean, T.F. Madison knows what the fuck she's doing. And like... I adore this woman with every fiber of my being. Like, where she was like, you are going to go out there and like take this 15 minutes of fame that you're given and extend it to 15 years. That's what she did.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her. I'm so happy that she is a permanent rotating part of this judging panel now. It feels so correct.
Mm-hmm.
Now just replace Ross and Carson with
Law Roach.
Honestly, yeah. I was gonna say Lonnie Love.
You know, I do like Lonnie, but I'm good.
Or Nicole Byer would have been the only one.
Nicole Byer, I would be more inclined to.
Nicole would be.
But I feel
That
like
whole
she's
season
busy.
13.
I feel like she's so busy these days.
I agreed. The rotating panel of fabulous Black women that we had on season 13, it's just like unmatched for me. But yes, we do get our results. We find out that the winner of this week's challenge is Nymphia.
Deserved.
Very deserved. Very, very, very deserved. Her third win. Squeaking it right at the end there. Getting her third win.
Mm-hmm. Keeping it close.
Keeping
very
it
close.
very close. Very, very close. And now the only queen on this season to not lip sync for her life. Or lip sync at all.
Oh, true. I mean, other than challenges that involved lip syncing.
Well, she wasn't in an end of episode lip sync.
Great.
So
she should have been.
She should have been in the bottom for the power challenge.
Oh, I was thinking she should have been in the top for episode 2.
Oh, well, that part too. That
Yes.
absolute part too.
I did not have her in the bottom for. I don't know if I was on that episode. I don't think I was.
I don't think you were.
But I actually really liked her in the power performance. I was mesmerized.
I would have had her and Q in the bottom, probably. Some combination of Nymphia, Q, and Plain would have been my bottom.
Q and Morphine.
Morphine?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not diving into that. I don't have the time, energy, or patience to deal with
No. I'm sorry. It was not Morphine. It was Dawn. It was Q and Dawn for me.
Thank you.
No, it was Q, Dawn, Plain Jane, then Morphine. I had to really refresh my mind on how everybody went.
So your winner still would have been Sapphira.
I just remembered the thing was, it wasn't that I would have had Morphine in the bottom. I just wouldn't have had her in the top 2. It would have been, for me, Sapphira and Nymphia in the top 2.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. But yes, speaking of Sapphira was called safe, deserved. There was a very clear bottom 2 here, and they did the very clear bottom 2. So we have Plain and Q.
And they were hedging their bets in case Sapphira somehow dropped the ball. You're like, well,
when I tell you, I literally the whole commercial break before the actual lip sync happens, I was like, all right, so what white girl pop ballad are they going to give these two to lip sync to? Like, I hope it's something good. I was like, oh, it could be Taylor Swift. Oh, maybe it's like Driver's License. They give them Tina Turner, Better Be Good to Me. A waste.
Was it Better Be Good to Me?
I think.
I thought it was a different song.
No, it was Better Be Good to Me.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end you have Plain like straight to camera being like, better be good. I think. Hold on, I'm looking it up. If I got it wrong, I'm so sorry to Tina Turner.
No, it's okay, because I felt like I remembered it. Say it's
Better Be Good to Me by Tina Turner.
Okay, well then I'm the crazy one, because I was like, I thought it was a song I didn't know, but I do know that one. But yeah, I was like, okay, I really do think this was hedging their bets in case Sapphira was in the bottom.
But also, I would have loved to see, where was this, honestly, where was this when Hershey went home?
Oh, I always thought you were going to say flip the 2 lip sync songs, but I guess they couldn't do that because they had
Kelsey Ballerini there, so obviously they were going to do Kelsey Ballerini in front of Kelsey Ballerini. Right. No, either this went, because I know Hershey would have slayed the fuck out of this lip sync. Not that I wanted Geneva to go home first either. This whole cast is good. Or I would have loved to see Mhi'ya lip sync to this, because I think Mhi'ya would have done so good to this too, or Tsunami, or Morphine.
But I know from talking ahead of time that we have kind of different opinions on this lip sync.
We do. Yeah. For me, I was very bored by what Plain did.
Mm.
We've seen it.
So
She took off her bustier corset situation. She had a nude bodysuit on and jiggled her titties. That's all she did.
Yes, it is. And I will say that I was expecting more from her, but I
Yeah.
still liked what she did other than taking
Okay.
off the suit. And I
Okay.
did think like she won it when she did the like boob things on the
Well,
note.
obviously, because she did what she knows RuPaul's
Right.
gonna laugh
It
about.
was smart. It was funny. I thought she did well. But the surprise for me was how close it was because we've seen Q perform and she's not done super well. I thought this
I
was by far the best performing I've seen her do.
I was gonna say I have not agreed. I have not thought Q won either of her previous lip syncs. I thought she won this lip sync. For me, my eye kept going back to Q. I
Mm,
was like, oh, I really felt like, and for me, a lot of the time in a lip sync for your life, it comes down to who do I believe the song out of more. And in this instance, I think they both did a good job. This is not going to be anywhere close to my top lip sync of the year list. I can tell you that right now. Not even close. They both did a serviceable job in this lip sync. For me, I did believe the song a little bit more coming from Q because I felt the fire coming from Q.
mm,
I felt like she had something to prove in that moment, being up against Plain, knowing that like she didn't have the best performance in either of her previous lip syncs. For me, I believed it from Q a little bit more.
mhm.
And I felt like Q had a bit more in the tank. Plain rested on her laurels.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But still,
And
even
Plain landed.
I feel like Plain resting on her laurels is like this, and then I feel like Q stepping it up is like this. So it's still pretty
Sure. No,
even for
I
me.
get that.
I think that we scored lip syncs. I haven't scored this yet. I would not be surprised if I have like a 1 point difference between their scores. I thought it was very close.
Yeah.
In fact, I really wish it was a double Shantae.
I kind of was expecting it. But
I think Q was too.
all four of them were. They talked about it in
Mm,
Untucked.
yeah.
Well, actually, no, Q wasn't.
Well,
Q was like,
I
it's
just saw
changing
hope in
based.
her eyes
I
as
did too.
RuPaul was talking at the
Well, and
end.
they were so damn shady with that.
Mhm,
But Plain does win the lip sync. I honestly think it came down to track record.
mhm. Which
I
is
think that's
fair.
it is fair. But when you're talking about someone with still with a phenomenal track record like Q does
Mhm.
have, they were so shady for this. When they went Q, long pause, long pause, long pause. Thank you. And I was like, oh shit, they're sending her home.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, what the fuck are they doing for the finale?
Taking it back to old school,
It
probably.
seems like it
Yeah.
because there's been by this time, like we would have been filming the finale like this week.
Mhm,
Like I'm pretty sure the season 15 finale was filmed like the first week of April last year.
mhm.
Nothing's. I'm like, what are they do? If they do the same thing that they did with All Stars 8, I'm gonna be so frustrated with this finale.
I'm thinking it's gonna be like season 6.
Oh, you think?
Mhm.
With the individual, well, that's what I'm talking about too. The individual song.
Oh, no, it's season 5 is what I'm going for, not season 6. I forgot they did.
Oh, the like music
Yeah.
video situation.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
but even that had a live finale.
Did it?
Yeah, season 5 was this
Watch those seasons in forever.
season. Well, season 4 was the first season to have a live finale.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Season
we're
4 was the
taking
yeah,
we're
season
taking it way
4
back then.
because Perez Hilton leaked before season 3 that Raja won.
That's right.
That's Perez Hilton
Oh,
is the
well,
entire reason we have live finales.
but I thought that was why we get the multiple winners named instead.
That's also why they did it live.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, because for season 4, they didn't film any other endings other than Sharon.
I'm like
And that also
the
got
live
leaked.
makes it harder or easier to spoil because now you have thousands of people watching. So
But all the endings are filmed now because Sharon's got leaked before the finale aired.
okay.
So that's since season 5. Season 5 was the first season. I believe Jinx, Alaska, and Roxy all had crownings filmed.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like they're going back to old school. We're not doing a live finale, which is so confusing to me. I'm intrigued and kind of excited to see how this goes down. And hey, after 16 seasons, they got to do something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not opposed, but I do honestly think I'm gonna miss a live finale because I like seeing the audience interaction with the girls. That's what I think I'm gonna miss the most.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, they could still have an audience. Who knows?
We'll talk about it next week. But Q is eliminated. The first person to be eliminated in 4th place on a Drag Race main season since Chi Chi DeVayne.
Wow.
They have done a top 4 or more every other season since season 8.
Mm-hmm. And they pick one of the best top 4s ever to go back to the top
I
3.
gotta be honest, I had my issues with Q the whole season. I really do feel like she deserved a spot in the top 4. I
Mm-hmm.
think she still would have been 4th. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I do think she deserved a spot in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
But if a top 4 finale is not the format that they're going with this season, and they knew that from the beginning, because that's what it seems like, then hey, I guess the person to go home in this moment would have probably, based on track record, would have been Q.
Yeah.
And I'm upset about it.
Me too. And I really hope she comes back for an all-star season and wins. Honestly, I would love to see her as a winner because I think she has what it takes. I think there's a few things she really needs to work on,
Yes.
but to me, like since the preseason interviews, when I heard her, I was like, I'm getting a little bit of Trinity Taylor. Old
Oh,
school Trinity Taylor, and
okay.
even like watching her as a brick, I'm like, this reminds me of Trinity, and
Of
I mentioned
Stanky
it
the
on our podcast.
Starfish. I
Yeah,
said it. I was like, it
you did.
reminds me of Stanky the Starfish.
Yeah. So
I could see it.
I
I
think she could
think
have a Trinity trajectory. Um,
I think if they invite any of the season 16 girls on All Stars 10, I think she's someone we could see back. I think she's one of those. I think she's one of the girls that might do an immediate comeback.
I hope she doesn't though.
I hope she doesn't either. I think there's some other girls on this season that could and would be very successful. I have 2 in mind specifically,
Mhm.
but because I think either Morphine or Plasma
Okay.
could do the immediate comeback, or Nymphia. Honestly, if she
Yeah,
doesn't
I was
win,
gonna say whoever doesn't win in the top 3, I feel like
I don't
any
want
of
Lane
them,
back, but that's
she's
just
coming
personal
back.
bias. She will be back. Yeah, I know, but Q is gone. We have a top 3, which is based on track record and based on performance in the season, the correct top 3. Um, but next week, David, we have a lip sync Lollapalooza smackdown between the 11 eliminated queens
Yeah, this will
for
be
$50,000.
yeah, I'm very interested in this. And I'm a little confused because it's like it's called like reunion lip sync. So are they going to do a reunion
It
aspect too?
seems like it. It seems like we might get like how they did the UK versus the world
Yeah.
finale. That's the mindset I'm going into it with. Is like that's what I'm expecting to see.
But with 11 people, like how many lip syncs is that going to be? And plus, there's going to have to be at least one 3-person lip sync, probably multiple 3-person lip syncs.
Well, it's probably going to be similar to the format of how they did it when they did the season 14. I'm really referencing season 14 today. Or no, I was referencing 13. Whatever.
Both
Um, both.
and 15.
When they had the 7-person Lollapalooza after Snatch Game. So it's probably going to be 2, 2, 2, 2, 3 in the first round. And
And then
then a
3,
2
2.
and a 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see how that goes.
Maybe they should give somebody a bye. Be like,
The person that
Mhi'ya
wins
or
the 3
Morphine,
person,
you've
or no, the person that wins the 3 person because they have to take out 2 people.
Oh,
So if
yeah.
you're in the 3 person lip sync, you get a bye or something. I don't know.
Well, I meant in the first round get a bye. That way it's
Oh,
like a
because of
10.
like number of lip syncs in the
Ye
season.
Yeah. I don't
That
know.
would be morphine.
Mhm.
I'm not opposed to that, let me be honest, but
Yeah. I don't know if this is the season I would have done it because I'm trying to think like, is this the strongest? Is like I don't feel like it's the strongest lip sync cast we've had recently. Like last season's
no, I
cast.
was gonna say I think 15 was actually, and we saw it come to fruition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We
like
literally saw that in the last one too, when they had the 3 person and then Anitra saved Spice.
right.
So
Oh
they
yeah,
just
that's a
gonna
good
like
point.
prevent someone from winning. That would be shady. If someone was like, you can eliminate one person right now and they don't get to win. I don't think they would do that, but that would be
Hmm,
so shady if they did.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we will. I'm very excited for it because it seems like this was also filmed during the filming time because everyone's back in the workroom. Um, so like it really feels like the way that they did All Stars 8, where they
Hmm.
did the like semifinals. They eliminated Jessica for no reason, and then everyone came back for the talent show, and then they
Hmm.
did the finale. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. I mean, and that was a fun episode.
It,
I watched it and I had really awful company when I watched it, but it was still fun.
yeah.
Just kidding. I watched it with you.
I remember you living your best life sitting on my damn couch over there,
Yep.
David Healy. So what about it?
Good times.
Um, but yeah, I'm very excited for the end of this season. I'm intrigued to see how things are gonna go. Um, I wonder because it doesn't seem like the top 3 are lip syncing at all. Are they gonna show off finale looks? I'm so intrigued. But it means that for the first time in Cup history, we will technically be filming a video specifically for the reunion, kind of,
Hmm.
because we've never. I don't think we should do the lip sync Lollapalooza and the finale together.
No, we shouldn't. But we also had that same. It was the same format for season 8 of
Of All
All
Stars,
Stars,
yeah.
so it would be kind of our second, right?
Well, that wasn't a reunion
But they
technically,
kind of had like reunion aspect,
but
right?
it wasn't billed as a reunion.
True.
They had reunion aspects for sure because all the girls were back. So obviously
Hmm.
they all talked about the shit that went
Hmm.
down on the season, except for Heidi. Um, I also saw recently Heidi only claims season 12 on her social media
Oh,
bios.
okay. Well,
So she
slay,
ain't
girl, slay.
so she ain't never coming back to Drag Race.
I
She
don't know.
ain't never coming back to Drag Race. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes down. I'm intrigued. I don't know what's gonna happen, and
Mm,
that's kind of refreshing to me.
yeah.
And it just means we get another week of being together talking about
Hmm.
season 16. So we will be back next week to talk about the kind of reunion lip sync Lollapalooza on the stage. Did you notice on the stage that they filmed Secret Celebrity Drag Race?
Oh, I didn't notice.
You didn't watch Secret Celebrity Drag
I
Race,
did.
did you?
I
Oh, you
absolutely did.
did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, because that was right before you started on the podcast. I remember that
Hmm.
because we had covered that, and that was like right before. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed. Same stage. It's the same like judging booth that they had for Secret Celebrity Drag Race. Same like triangle stage. I was like, this feels like they put thought and energy into this, and I appreciate that. But we will be back next week, same time, same place, same us, maybe with more people, maybe with less people. Who knows? We will be talking all things episode 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 16. In the meantime, make sure to subscribe, like, and share on your way out. It does genuinely help us out. I don't know why it helps us in the algorithm, but it does. So it would be great if you did. Thank you. Make sure to check out all of our other channels and our membership links down in the description below. And while you're down in the description, you could follow our socials as well at The Cut Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You could follow me and David because a lot of y'all find him attractive. So unfortunately, you're not going to find much to thirst over. I'm going to be honest with you. But you could go follow him. And if you wanted to follow me, I'm funny sometimes. And you could go get your merch, including but not limited to Cut Mug down below as well. With all that being said, we're going to get out of here. Cheers.
Cheers. And remember, being a bitch is a kindness. It's an act of kindness.
That'll be good to me. They wasted this Tina Turner song. Tina, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry they wasted this on two white girls. I'm sorry.